A big criticism of the Green Party is that they don't run on a local level first, that they only run on a presidential level, which isn't true. And that's why Jill Stein is here to clue us in on the Green candidates with some of the best shots to win right here in California. So now I want to get into the local races here. So you're out in California, and here we're talking about Rodolfo Cortez Barragan. He's a progressive champion in a one-on-one race for Congress against an establishment Dem who votes to expand the military spending while her constituents suffer from lack of jobs, healthcare, and education. Electing Rodolfo would spark a real political revolution. Now, the way things work here in California is that they've found a way to eliminate third party running in the general election, and the way they do it is they have a primary, but you don't get to have a primary inside your own party. It's one big primary for everyone has to be in the same primary. The Greens, the Libertarians, the Socialists, the Democrats, the Republicans, they're all in the same primary, and then the top two vote getters go on to the general election. So those top two vote getters in California are normally going to be two Democrats or a Democrat and a Republican. And so that's how they've gotten rid of the third parties. Now, a couple of races, the Green Party, third parties have squeaked in, right? So this is one of them. And Rodolfo's running against. So now we have a Democrat running against a Green. So now there's no reason to not vote for the Green Party candidate. There's no Republican that's going to win if you vote for. There's none of that crazy stuff. So if you're a progressive, and what is the district Rodolfo's running in?
40? 40, yes, 40.
So California 40th district.
And it's a district where, the residents look like him. He is an immigrant. He's a Chicano immigrant, of humble means and, extraordinary character. And his district is like him. The incumbent has been in office for 25 years. Has it served her district? I don't think so. She also voted to expand ICE, which is an extreme threat to her district. And when he's out knocking doors, 90% of the time, people will switch their votes to vote for him as soon as they hear about him. So the name of the game here is all about suppressing media, information, and knowledge because, here we are. It's a two-way race. There is no even hypothetical possibility of this bogus spoiler effect, which really doesn't exist anyhow.
Right, it doesn't.
But they can't even use it as an excuse here. So what do? They just try to black out the race. So get the word out. Get the word out. And go to his website. Go to Rodolfo's website, which is down there.
RodolfoForCongress.com.
Exactly.
RodolfoForCongress.com. And you can text Rodolfo to 41411. So look at all the great stuff he's for. Medicare for all, debt-free college, federal jobs guarantee, protect the dreamers, pathway to citizenship, universal rent control. That's so important. Forgive student debt, end pollution, basic income guarantee, and no more wars. Now, if the Democrats came out with this, they would sweep back into power. They're not going to do that, because their donors won't allow them. So Rodolfo doesn't have those donors, so he could actually represent the people. So again, a big criticism of the Green Party in the last 2016 election, which was a criticism thought up in a think tank. I'm going to guess the Center for American Progress, and then people would repeat it as if they thought of it themselves, which was, I've seen many people do that, including pundits. They'll say, why don't you start at the local level? If you're really concerned, why don't you just run for president every 4 years? Well, this has been going on all the time. So here's Rodolfo, and he is running at the local level. Now, I know Gail McLaughlin personally. She was a Green. They took over their whole city government. And they beat Exxon.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
so I just want to point out that that's a bogus, completely bogus, corporate think tank approved talking point when people say that about the Green Party, correct?
Totally. And in fact, we have now somewhere around 150 electeds who are already sitting in office. So I just want to draw the attention of people like Dan Savage, who were just so quick to attack us for being president-only, type party. I was like, hello, Dan, I hope you're listening. Are you paying attention? You were suggesting we run candidates. We are running them. why don't you cover them? So hey,
And
take it away, guys.
Again, it's just an upside down, black is white, in is out world. Instead of guys like Dan Savage being angry at the Democratic Party for not offering candidates who offer things that excite people to vote, he gets angry at people who are voting their conscience and actually pushing the programs and policies that we should all be embracing. It's just it's a psychotic. It's not how politics works. And that's why they're losing. That's why the Democrats lost 1,000 seats nationwide.
Yes.
Now, is that because of the Green Party or because the Democratic Party has a basic fundamental flaw? And their fundamental flaw is that they don't represent the people they asked to vote for them. And that's why the people they asked to vote for them don't come out to vote for them. And Barack Obama could get those people to vote for him because he was such an eloquent speaker. Even though he was stabbing them in the back, he could make you forget about all that when he spoke. Me too. I'm just as susceptible to him as anybody. I voted for him twice. So, and it turned out to be disastrous we got Trump from that. Because of all the things we talked about. So I just wanted to make that point that the Green Party is on the ground. And whether you like them or not, they're a grassroots organization. I mean, that's the whole point of the Green Party. They're a grassroots organization.
Exactly.
So here, I have one more race. Can we talk about?
Yes, please.
So here's Laura Wells. She's a California Green in a one-on-one congressional race that often goes uncontested. She's empowering voters to pressure Congress for solutions we need, like Medicare for all, free higher education, public banks, which is you never hear Democrats talk about that, and ranked choice voting. So she's in District 13, laurawells.org. So do you know anything about Laura?
Yeah. Laura's been, an advocate, working hard for all those things for decades. And, I encourage people to go check her out. She's running against a very strong Democrat. So this is, shall we say, not our best shot at winning a seat, but still the progressive she's challenging voted for the military budget, voted to bail out the big banks, and did not stand up as co-chair, I think, of the Progressive Caucus, did not stand up for single payer.
Oh, no kidding. So who was she running against?
Who's it? Yeah, against Barbara Lee.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So.
Oh, Barbara Lee was a super delegate.
Okay. Yeah, for Hillary.
Okay,
right.
wow, I didn't know that.
It's not wrong to push progressives to be progressive.
Right.
So, it took me a while to understand that, but we're so conditioned to want to protect those we think are progressive. We really need to hold them accountable. But I want to mention one other, and that is Kenneth. Do you have Kenneth?
Here is here's you and Coachella.
Yes.
Victor Alcantara. How do you say it? Alcantara. So he's running for city council. So they couldn't get even, again, that criticism of why do you only run for president? Here is someone running for city council.
Yes.
And tell me about him and what he's doing.
He's amazing. He was a history teacher back in Peru. Here, I think he's like a youth worker, a youth recreation worker, and I think he drives an Uber, to make ends meet. Really smart, incredible guy, very connected to the community. So he's from Coachella, which is this unbelievably impoverished Chicano community. You know how many people voted in their last election? Okay, in the last election, and there are 45,000 people in the town, 1,000 people, maybe 1,400 voted. Okay, 1,400. Only 12,000 people are even registered to vote. It's a largely Chicano community. They have nothing to vote for with the with the Democratic Party, but he's really mobilizing the community, and it's really exciting to see. We were there last night. We've got a live stream video that's up of the dialogue we had last night, which was just really wonderful to see the power of the Chicano community as it begins to recognize, in the words of Alice Walker, the biggest way people give up power is by not knowing we have it to start with. Well, the Chicano community is starting to realize how much power it has, especially here in California, and they are seeing that as green power. And, I really encourage people to check that out, make a contribution. A couple dollars go a very long way in this climate of, of big money races. But once you're out in the boondocks, nobody cares. they haven't been visited by a presidential candidate or a former presidential since the days of John Kennedy. I mean, that's how much people, our current parties care about, 25 million Latinx voters who vote. And their vote is just totally taken for granted, and they're not happy about it. One of the Democrats' biggest worries going into this election, now into the midterms, is what's going to happen with the Latinx vote. Are they going to be able to lure it to the ballot box? They're not sure, but they have nobody to thank
even
for that
with Trump. Even with Trump.
Even with Trump.
Even with Trump.
Can you believe that?
Yes, that's how empty of a party they are. They won't even stand up for the Dreamers. They caved completely over on the Dreamers.
That's right.
And got nothing.
That's right. Which just tells you that people are not they're not motivated to vote against what they hate. People are motivated to vote for what we're for.
Yes.
So, do it. And the voting system will change, but it won't change until we challenge it. So we got to do it. And for those who are all bent out of shape and whining about it, well, hello, you can change the voting system like the people of Maine just did by passing ranked choice voting. We already have it in about 12 cities around the country and more than that even. So make it happen.
And people don't know what ranked choice voting is. So really quickly, I'll just tell you what it is. It means that you get to vote for whoever you want, and nobody can call you a spoiler anymore. That's all you need to know. That it doesn't. And so all those arguments, all that voter shaming, all the voter policing, all the hatred for the people with no money and no power in our politics and electoral system, all that goes away if we have ranked choice voting. You get to vote for whoever you want, and you can't be called a spoiler. That's all you need to know. Because I don't want to get into explaining it. People get there. All you need to know is you get to vote for whoever you want, and you can never have a quote-unquote spoiler. By the way, every politician is a spoiler because they're trying to spoil the race for the other person. Anyway, so you have one more. Kenneth Mejia is also running, and so tell me about Kenneth Mejia here in California. He's running for Congress. Go ahead.
That's right. He's running for Congress, and remind me the district. 34th, okay, which is, again, this is L.A., as is Rodolfo. They're both, in fact, their districts are partly, contiguous, and they're both running in very poor, very immigrant communities who have not been represented. So he's running against an incumbent who, is basically rolling in corporate money and not standing up and fighting. And they're not. These are the Democrats, and that's just not what they're about. And as you point out, they've had control in California. They've also had control in my home state of Massachusetts, where they run 80% of the legislature. So they can create any bill and override any veto they want. And these two states are rolling in dough, but that dough is all at the top.
Yes.
They have very high rates of poverty. Nobody can afford the place that they live. People are really stuck. Enormous numbers of students in debt. So even where Democrats are in total control, they're not doing it for us. So Kenneth Mejia is just a dynamite candidate. He's also a millennial, an immigrant raised by a single mother.
We've had him on the show several times.
Oh, that's really great. All right, I'm glad. So people, please go to these websites. Go to their websites, go to their Facebook pages, throw $1, throw $5 into the hat, and let's use the power that we have as an informed, inspired, political force that that listens to Jimmy Dore. Let's not just get angry. Let's get even. And let's make it happen, because we got a lot of numbers out there when you put us together. And if everybody's throwing a little bit into the hat, we are an absolutely unstoppable force. These are winnable races. We could have 3 Greens in Congress. It would absolutely blow a hole in this political repression and the warmongering and the austerity that we're all contending with. We can actually challenge the system, and we can accomplish that in the next week. So let's make it happen.
Okay, Jill Stein, an unapologetic progressive environmentalist and Green Party member. Thanks for being our guest, and thanks for bringing light and attention and raising the consciousness around the issues that you raise. It's important. We need more people like you. Thanks.
Thank you, and we need more journalists like you, Jim.
I'm not a journalist. Please make sure you're subscribed. Even if you think you are subscribed, there's a good chance you're not. So please check. It only takes a second, and then click that bell, and that's how you know you'll get a notice every time we drop a video. They still won't notify you every time we drop a video, but that's the best we can do. Plus, if you like the show, you want to support it, please become a patron. We give you hours of bonus material every week. And come see a live show. Go to jimmydorcomedy.com for our live schedule.